Hi, Robin.
Hi, Heidi.
Hi. Today, I suppose I'll give a few announcements first. Just wanted to touch on the fact that we are offering another Kundalini group activation on December 19th. If that's of interest to you, go on our website, athenaintruth.com, under the courses tab. Also, we have our member Q&A and our Athena Universe site. So if any of that is of interest to you, check that all out on our website. Today, we wanted to talk because we've kind of received a few emails regarding the presidential election. There's people that are very opposed on either side of the equation. Robin and I are not here to offer any of our personal recommendations or anything of that nature. We just wanted to talk about it to hopefully soothe some people that are struggling with the outcome of the election, whether it was for or against what you were for or against. So we wanted to start off today. Let's talk about, we got a lot of messages that regard to the news, the new administration, the concerns that people are having, and how it's causing them to feel fearful, angry, upset, justified, and many other negative emotions. What advice do you have to those people?
Yeah, well, it's very difficult because humans like to categorize certain things as serious and good and bad and right and wrong. And we keep bringing you back again to the understanding that there is no right and wrong, there is no good and bad, that everything you are experiencing is activating an emotional basis within you. And that emotional basis is, in fact, what you need to really look at. But a human sometimes thinks that the outside circumstance is the cause of the emotional basis that they are feeling. But when in actuality, the real cause is something quite different than that when they really dive into it. I think we may get into that question a little bit further down, so I won't elaborate on that until we get to it, Heidi. But what we want you to understand is that there is this sovereignty thing. Yeah. All humans have a choice in how they want to choose in their lives and the way that they want to feel in them. And all the different candidates that you have, everyone that was making that choice was doing it with the idea that they would feel better because of it. That is the whole reason for the choosing of who it is that you want to choose in an election. Yeah. And so we are not here to determine who the right candidate was or wasn't. That's not why we are here. We're here to make you understand sovereignty, and that when you go against another sovereignty, you're going to feel negative because the divinity part of you is responding emotionally all the time to the way that you are thinking and feeling based upon what it knows that you prefer. So if you are thinking and feeling something that is distancing you from the outcome that you prefer, then the negativity that you feel is going to be a response between you and you, between the divinity part of you and you as a human. So once again, we are taking that outside circumstance out of the equation, and we want to bring you back to the understanding that this is a signal between you and you. Those feelings that you're getting in regard to the election that you think are caused by that are actually caused by not achieving. If you are negative, you are moving away from a desired result or a way that you prefer to feel. That's what that actually means.
Okay. All right. So can you explain then how it's possible for people to achieve what is wanted when clearly something's occurred that they don't want?
Yeah. It is to remember that in every moment when something is wanted, it is wanted in a way that it will make you feel. And so the way that you wanted to feel by the candidate that you chose, in fact, if it wasn't, he wasn't or she wasn't elected, then you would feel as though that is the reason that you don't have the good feeling that you were looking for. We want you to be recognizing of what it means to be in mastery. Mastery means that I am accountable for all of the emotions that I send out to the universe. I know that the moment that I have a preference or there is something that I desire to feel and the way that it will make me feel, that the universe receives me instantaneously and then creates the opportunity or the world in the way that I want to see it. And I'm adding to that. Everyone is part of that one thing that is adding to the all, or the universe as a whole. And so you have to come to an understanding that your power is in your focus. And if you are focused in negativity, the universe will be generating a negative response, and you will actually be adding some negativity to the universe that is not really what you are preferring. And you are creating unconsciously. You once again have gone to sleep because you are justified in it. You feel that your choice was the right choice and everyone else was wrong in their choice. And in that way of thinking, you're actually denying your own connection. You're trying to deny deny the sovereignty of others in what it is that they want to choose and the way that they want to feel. And that's never going to come in alignment with your source. So therefore, you are getting an indication with the more anger, the more frustrated, and the more you persist along those lines, you would probably notice the ante goes up and you get more and more irritated and more angry. And you're probably coming into contact with people that are arguing against you because you are opposing. And so you end up in this mess, don't you? You end up in something that you're not making a difference. You have a president that you have to surrender to. You have to come into some type of an alignment with what has occurred in your world, or you will be creating unconsciously a world around yourself that is very uncomfortable for you to be in.
Okay. So if your candidate did not get elected, how can one move to surrender and acceptance of the new president?
Yeah, in knowing that you are received in all that you feel, you continue to hold resonance with that feeling. And in fact, if the right president is not in place and everyone aligns in love, in acceptance, in a desire that they are preferring to see, rather than going against something or opposing something that they do not want to see, they are inadvertently expanding that energy in the universe, rather the energy in the direction that they are really wanting to see in the world. Prove it to yourself. Your power lies in your focus. What is it that you really wanted? What is it that you want to feel? Not what you don't want to feel. Don't move to condemning and judging and predicting and coming up with all types of disaster related effects that you are worried about. Go to what it is that you were preferring in the person that you were selecting. Take the people out of the equation and go within yourself and ask yourself, what was it that I was looking for? Many of you, we would tell you, were looking for sometimes not even to vote for the person you voted for, but to go against someone else that doesn't have the result that you want. And we would say particularly that's what occurred in this situation.
Okay. You know, it's interesting because many times, often you tell us to, when we have a negative emotion, to acknowledge, to observe it. And oftentimes you had mentioned with Robin, just going to sleep at night is so easy when she observes that emotion. And I really feel like I've practiced that with a lot of things. And I think that this election might be another good way for people to see what is trapped or
Yeah,
what is
because
held in them.
we're not asking them to change their opinion or
Right.
to believe or not believe in what it is that they believe in. What we are asking you to do is to claim what you are selecting as an emotion. Oh, I am angry. I am frustrated. I'm quite fearful. I have a vision of the world going down the pipes or not going the way that I want it to. Whatever it is that you are feeling, you are to claim that consciously. This is how you link to the divinity part of yourself and open the door for a better solution to come in. You're not going to open the door when you are hanging out in a low vibration of anger, frustration, irritation, opposition, and judgment of others. It's not going to gain you any ground in the direction that you're wanting to get to.
Right. Yes. So how does forgiveness then play a role in surrender and allow someone to move forward in a direction that feels better?
Yeah. Sometimes we are so caught up in our emotions and so justified in them and so angry, and we provoke others in responses to what it is that we are carrying. So we're coming into contact people that are going to oppose us in the way that we are feeling. And one of the things about surrender that is really intended with the principle of surrender is to understand that we're not in surrender. We're not giving up. We're not necessarily agreeing with anyone else, but we are surrendering to our own emotions that have created a situation that is now in front of us. So we are not blaming anyone else. We have no one to blame other than ourselves for what comes to us in our experience. And that actually includes the election. Sorry to tell you that. Yeah, a lot of people aren't going to like hearing that, but the resonance that people are holding gets balanced or returned on. And so many people had a great hatred for the person that was elected recently, and they were directing a lot of attention towards that. And then the result that they got expanded that which they were holding. So they kind of unknowingly were holding some things that actually self-perpetuated a result that magnified the feeling that they were already holding. unfolding. And this is what we mean about unconscious creating, or not really understanding how you're getting something that is not necessarily what you are preferring in your experience. Make sure you keep your focus in the direction of what you love, what you want to see. Don't be squandering it on something that you don't want to see, or looking at someone that you think is doing everything wrong and focusing in disgust, in irritation, because you will inadvertently create that in your own experience. That's what will happen.
Yeah. This next question, I'm reading it and then I'm actually thinking about personal experience. So the question is, can you explain in a clear, understandable way why taking in a stand, opposing or justifying are not means to achieving unity? And it's funny because I feel like there was a time in my life where when you really stood for something that you know, maybe didn't believe in or whatever, you did feel that very justified feeling that you were right and it was the right way to feel. And the more and more I move into this process, I realize I notice those when those opposing views, if even if it's not me, even if it's someone else, they stand out to me now because I really have come to a point where I realize that's not a way for me to get what I want in my experience.
And when they don't stand out is when someone moves to self-righteousness, when they move to the idea they know more than everyone else, that they have the right idea, that what they're doing, everyone else should be doing, because this is a violation of universal law. It's a violation of sovereignty, of individual choosing and picking of what one wants to feel in their experience. You can't do that. You have no power to do that. And therefore, most of people, as they get into this practice or understanding that we are teaching, they start to gain clarity. They start to recognize self-righteousness not as a good feeling, but as one that is control, one that is domination, and one that needs to go, quite honestly. Every human wants a better world, but they are all perceiving it in a different way. And so what can you do right now? You can perceive everyone in love, that everyone was intending a better direction, a better world, a more peaceful world, a more economical world. Everyone had their reasons for what they justified in the choosing of who they voted for. And so if you can move to that kind of surrender, that kind of acceptance of people, if you can align in love, you give the universe a real opportunity to flow to you a solution that many or most are going to be very happy with.
Right. And also, this just is something I wanted to mention. We've talked about before, every time, you know, you have a new desire or a new thing, it's almost like a new reality is created. And these multiple realities exist simultaneously. And if you're at that vibratory level, that's your reality. And so let's just talk about that and getting people to use that instead of thinking, oh, our country's going to the dogs. I don't
Yeah.
like what's going on here. Let's talk about the freedom they have as a creator to
Yeah.
create a reality that exists the way they would like it to be.
Well, your most important now moment, it's why it's talked about so much by a lot of spiritual teachers, is your now moment is your creative moment. Every minute you are creating timelines or other realities that actually exist that when aligned to can be brought into or be pulled right into the present reality that you are in. When you start thinking back or worrying or traveling to a time when perhaps you were injured or not feeling well in your experience, you're actually leaving the present moment and you're going back to the moment where that emotive state actually exists, and you start creating from that same vibrational level. That's what actually occurs. And so you could perceive a better reality. There is one, yeah, that is created in unity and in peace and in love because everyone's been received. Do you understand that? That no one has been ignored. No one needs to feel as though they failed. Every single thing that a human has emanated in the way that they wanted the world to be and the reasons that they did that have all been received. And so that establishment, that world exists. And so now it's a matter of aligning to it. And you have a responsibility, win or lose, to align to that ultimate reality, that reality of love, of balance, of unity that is available by what everyone has felt. And so it's to give up this separateness. That's what it is. It's separation. It's the idea that you're right and someone else is wrong. It's the idea that there's good and bad, and that some groups should be able to control other groups. That's not what it is. It's about understanding your own individual power to create and becoming a master of creation by guiding your focus in a direction that you know you will materialize something that you will like the feel of. So you're emanating in a way that you are accountable for. You are not emanating in a way that you are unconscious of in suffering. And that's what suffering is. When people say suffering is inevitable, we don't necessarily agree with that. We think suffering is the cause of unconsciousness. It's the cause of a human feeling a painful response from an emotive value that they have contained in themselves for a very long time, and also in their lineage or maybe in their past lives. So they've carried this emotional basis with them from one lifetime to the next. And we're not here to condemn it. We're not here to judge it or to make you wrong for it, but we would like you to be awakened to it. Because as you become awake, as you start to observe yourself in the emotions and the feelings and in the thoughts that you are having that are actually creating your experience, you allow the divinity part of you to flow through you and elevate your consciousness where new choices are available. You're not doing it. You think you are, but it is the higher levels of consciousness that influence the thoughts of negativity. It is not the human that does it.
Yes. Well, thank you for that. I hope that this helps our listeners that have been struggling with the election that we just had last week. Also, we wanted to just touch on, I know Athena wanted to give our listeners just information about the Kundalini activation, what occurs in a session. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now.
Yeah. One of the primary goals that we have in working with humans in their energy centers of the chakras are to assist them in becoming aware of what it is that is stored within those centers. When we do a Kundalini activation, we are stimulating the energy centers with the high vibration that Robin is carrying from the full activation of her Kundalini energy, actually causes a stimulation within the clients that are in the small groups that we offer it in. I think we keep it at 20 or under. And then what happens is as we give them a depiction of what is representative of each one of those energy centers, that stimulation causes recall. And there is no recall that will come to you that is not, in fact, creative in your experience. So you're going to start to recall things from your past, from your early childhood, silly little incidences that occurred in the classroom or maybe back at home where you were humiliated or embarrassed and thought that they were long gone. When those memories come back to you, they are coming up for healing. They're actually creative in your experience, and there's something that you're ping-ponging back and forth to when you run into mirrors of them that stimulate you. So a lot of the work that we do in those sessions is to assist humans in releasing a lot of those emotional entrapments that have been creative in their experience. And we do it by noticing what areas of their life are not fully satisfied. If you weren't hanging on to some negativity or had emotions that were trapped in the energetic field, you would have a fully satisfying life in all areas. It would flow to you through the universal part of you quite effortlessly without you having to do anything to obtain it. So what we really do is try to make a human aware of where they're denying the flow of their own energy, because that's what it boils down to. Nobody is being denied connection to their source. They are inadvertently, unconsciously holding some things within themselves that are preventing the flow from entering them. And so that's our primary goal and function. It's the practice that Robin used to awaken her Kundalini. Once she had that experience, she was able to release a lot of emotional charges that were held within her body and eventually make the connection to us. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, if you are enjoying our YouTube sessions, please subscribe and like our videos. And we thank you for joining us today. We'll see you again next time.
Thanks, Heidi.